Your weekend at Effy's never has to end. Join us on the Patreon and get access to all the bonuses. I'm talking extra episodes, early access, fun furry friends, merch discounts, and wait, is that unique art coming right to my house in the mail? There are so many ways to support. Just go to weekendateffys.com. Join the club, hang out with everybody, ask the questions you want to ask of the podcast, and see how much more Weekend at Effy's you can fit into your life. There's so much there, and you're going to love it. And it's the only way to support Effy on Patreon. Weekendateffys.com. Come hang out. It's Weekend at Effy's here with another very special guest. Yes, that's the friend of Tom Cruise, Shane Hartline, here to talk to us about how he's flipping wrestling upside down with Nearly Average Wrestling and all the big things ahead. With participation, with comedy, with excitement, it's Weekend at Effy's. It's Shane Hartline. Let's get excited.
It has something in it. You know those...
It probably is mine.
I don't...
It has pineapple coconut, which you hate. Oh, no. What were you saying?
Do you know the tag team Live Danger?
Yeah, I know Live Danger.
So Ross,
I hung out with them last year.
Ross came in with a real hot forearm. Caught me right on the nose.
Okay.
Shout out Ross.
This is my thing. And honestly, they did tell you Live Danger. But
I knew what I was getting into.
one thing, it usually is not the wrestlers that are hitting the cool celebrity guests. Because even if you're in wrestling, like, to me, you coming in, I would advertise as like cool celebrity guests, and then they're surprised you kind of know what you're doing. I've been hit more times by the celebrity who's involved in the storyline than the wrestler hurting the celebrity.
I've told those boys, and it was an accident. It was like
of
course.
And
afterwards, he bought me a beer, and it was cool. But I've wrestled them on my NAW shows multiple times, but that's a stage match. But I've always said, neck down.
Yeah.
Beat the shit out of me. I don't care. I like to be physical. But this, I can't risk it. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to my sister's wedding tomorrow.
Yeah. And it's like not even like sister's wedding. Like, okay, so we're here. It's Weekend at Effy's.
Hey.
We started. We're here with Shane Hartline. You're also, you're a TV megastar. I'm going to say
that's megastar is debatable, but
listen, I'm going to say this. Sometimes you see a guy and you go, yeah, he should be on television.
Oh,
and
thanks, man.
Honestly, and that's the vibe I got originally. Which TV show did you just appear on?
The recent one was Rookie.
Yeah. Okay. With
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion from Firefly. Is that what he was on?
I think that was his first thing.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff.
But he was just in Superman and like.
Oh yeah, with the bowl cut.
That guy's such a nice guy. Like, you never know. Like working on projects like this, like how open people are going to be to like have conversations and stuff. So you kind of like you just have to like kind of dance the energy of meeting these people.
Well, it's the Michael Jackson, like, don't engage with Michael unless he engages with you.
100%.
And so you don't want to add to this person's day
100%.
who's there.
But
most of the time it's people looking at you going, should I say anything? You're like, yeah, we're just here. We're doing it. We're hanging out. And that guy's been on a lot of sets.
Conversational. He told me like the whole like long story of how he ended up booking Superman. It was just like, I was like, man, so cool. Like to like, give me that time.
I've been watching The Rookie via TikTok AI overlays, and it's a very fun show.
Wait, what?
I mean, you know about these every TikTok. Like, I've accidentally watched Young Sheldon, and The Rookie comes up a lot, where it's like the officer wasn't sure what was happening.
Like, yes, I think I know what you're talking about.
Where it's like the side by side audio of like the show clip, but like
somebody
mirrored.
doing a voiceover about the
right.
You're not even really watching the authentic show.
Yeah, it's like the real life version of Netflix telling you every scene.
What does that say about you, Effy? Like, what does that say? Like,
I think they're infecting our algorithms with a ton of stuff. So I'm hoping you come across and they're like, this boy was a comedian. He now is in a TV show.
He's a F boy. I'm very curious at how they would describe my character from that episode.
Okay, you're a wrestling guy through and through. We can talk about like your start in wrestling and stuff, but I also want to say that like to just describe you as one thing, I think is the great problem, and that's awesome because you're someone, you get me fired up because I see you just jumping at any opportunities and chance to build something, to create content, to include people, to make a fun live experience. Like, I think being a part of, because we met and you invited me to come do Nearly Average Wrestling's live show in Hollywood in a sick theater. Do you want to put them over? The Elysian. And these people are showing up. And here's what I always say is like, people are like, why I wrestle for GCW. People are like, GCW shows feel different than other shows. And I think this show felt very different than other comedy shows, obviously because there's wrestling elements, but there's such an excitement for participation and such an excitement of that spot to show off. And I don't want to say like, oh, the entertainment industry is in such a bad place, but people are coming in from comedy, from these other things, and just from like regular life and getting to come do material and work out weird bits in front of a ruckus audience and in front of people from there. It's just like, to me, it's the most exciting thing about entertainment is getting to go there. And if you want to play along, you can play along. And I don't know, I'm trying to make a larger point about like, I think you're on the cusp of where live events are going, where people can watch online and participate, and there's content that's outside of that. But these live shows where people are just cutting promos as their characters, getting to be a part of a wrestling show, it's like seeing the South Park episode pay off in real time.
Oh, that's so funny. I never really thought about that South Park
episode.
Episode.
Wrestlers always want to be like, oh, that's not how it really is. But then like you talk to people and their favorite moments in wrestling are, you know, Hulk slamming Andre, Stone Cold giving someone a stunner. But it's these characters and these big things. No one's ever like, what's your favorite part of wrestling? And they're like, a rolling cravat around the neck tight. Right. Like these things are a part of it and they're 100%. Great. But recognizing that like you're doing functional professional wrestling and you're having wrestlers face off in battle and they're getting to do it in this environment that doesn't require as much money from having to put a whole ring up. You can get any person involved. They don't have to worry about like, you think they could take a Sycamore King to the back? Yeah. There's just like a real magic of like, are we in wrestling missing something that you're grasping on here?
I think the thing is like I've had, there's so many things that came to mind when you with what you were just saying, but like one of the things is I truly believe like when somebody says wrestling has to be a certain way or done a certain way, I truly think they don't even understand what wrestling is. And I think that what I'm doing is it's you know, it's a comedy show about wrestling, but it's in my way. I'm doing wrestling in a different way. And you know, you made a really interesting point about, I think we're on the cusp of like something with like live audience and theater. Like I do think that going back to the AI discussion, I think that there's starting to be more of a hunger. And I don't know, tell me if your experience.
No, I love where you're
like
going with this already.
Like, you know, you're doing shows all the time. Are you seeing more people coming out? Like I feel like people are. There's a turn starting to happen where like people don't know what's real anymore. So the only thing that they can get a for sure guarantee is if they can see it, if they can touch it, and it's right in front of them.
Yeah,
you know. So that's like what's always excited me to be able to create is, and it's also similar to wrestling. I mean, it is wrestling, but it's like instant gratification, instant answers, instant feedback. You know?
Yeah, you have a live audience in front of you, and what you're talking about is this thing that I kind of like. I bring it up in seminars that I do in wrestling, and to me, like, we'll go back to the cutting promos thing because my mind was blown that wrestlers weren't lining up to be on your Twitch stream in front of audiences, in front of Pretty Peter Avalon, who's on your show, who's like in wrestling and has done things in wrestling, and cut these promos and take the time to promote themselves when like wrestling is not. We're not doing well enough for where I think the product is. But when we get all these new fans, it's typically from people going, you got to see this in person. You got to come to this show with us. You got to show up in person and see it. And people have like, everything is on there. Everything is HD. Everything has lights everywhere. Everything is perfectly filmed and shot. But to get to go in a room where something is happening, it's like, it's kind of addictive. And you have to like be convinced by someone you trust. Like I almost think like when things are advertised to me on social media, it's almost like my brain is pre-programmed to go, this doesn't matter. But when someone tells me like, have you seen this thing? And the problem is that it requires the thing to actually be fun for people to go to.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and that person has to experience it. And then, you know,
right. And so like your product has to be there where you have to go like, all right, well, we're constantly changing, but whatever we're doing is fun for our audiences. Like I was cracking up on stage, but not even as hard as some of the people that were cracking up in the audience. And then just seeing like, okay, I have a pretty busy schedule this week. We talked about it. For me, I don't and haven't had time in my life to just be like, I'm going to pull up to this thing and just show off this new bit I've been doing in a 1-minute bit that I can just try in front of a group of willing people that's kind of outside of any other. Like, I know how to be Effy. I've been Effy. But having these people show up and the enthusiasm to like get it out of their systems, I think it makes the audiences more likely to come back and to be a part of it, because like,
I almost want it to be like a karaoke kind of energy where it's like, get up there.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a little bit of that.
You don't have to commit to being the whole show by any means, but it's like, after going to that 1 or 2 times, how could you not be like, no, I got a character I'm going to do. Let me go give this a try.
Yeah. And before we continue, like, there's going to be people that are listening that have zero idea.
They have zero idea
of what we're talking about.
We're talking about it.
So I've essentially created this show called NAW or Never, which is I'm coining as the
NAW is NAW, nearly average wrestling or never. NAW or never.
Recording because I get really paranoid.
No, Peter's got everything. Trust me.
I've done shows, and not saying you're unprofessional. I'm just one of my OCD.
Peter has like,
because we're making gold here, baby.
This is my.
I promise you, you're nowhere near as paranoid as I am.
It's all good.
Peter's saying more paranoid. No, I promise. I promise.
No, yeah. So NAW, Nearly Average Wrestling, is this essentially like wrestling company I've created, and a lot of people are like, "Is this a real company?" And I'm like, "It's as real as wrestling. It's real to me." And it may not be or feel or look like a traditional wrestling organization. Nothing about what I'm doing is traditional, but it is. NAW or Never is. We're coining it the Smack Talk Open Mic. It's a little Kill Tony. It's a little Pee-wee's Playhouse. It's a little all these.
Okay, but you say Kill Tony, but the thing is, this is the most accepting crowd, and it reminds me of wrestling, and that's how I know it's a wrestling company, because wrestling will allow the most absurd shit.
Very welcoming.
If you go to a regular comedy show and some guy walks out with an accordion, you're going to be like, we're not doing this, are we?
A lot of people aren't as accepting at the top.
But I feel like in wrestling, people are like, let's see what you're going to do.
9 times out of 10, our atmosphere, our audience is really accepting. But, there's times where, like, people come up with a big idea and it falls flat. That can't not happen sometimes.
I think even when we were being comedy-esque as the guests who, we're on the back of the panel getting to discuss who's the best promo, and then these people are very competitive about the promos, which I think really excites an audience. People love watching competition, and even when we're being shady, it's like we're not roasting you to death.
There's a difference, I think, of like really trying to hurt someone's feelings and being playful.
Yeah.
And for the most part, we've had only judges that kind of feel the energy of the room, and it's like, oh, this isn't that show,
Yeah. Yeah. My thing too was like, okay, these are comedians. They're going to look at this and you can always hit a witty bit. But for me, I'm thinking in wrestling terms where like, I've booked people on shows before because they can do one thing. And so I always want to see what they're doing and be like, why don't you take this part of it and make this even better, and like find that part to compliment rather than tear them down. Yep. And then sometimes playing along with the bit and eating a little bit of their like if you're doing something completely outrageous and I start flirting with you anyway, they're like, how could this goofball find this attractive?
Yeah.
I feel like when you're up on there, it's like the worst thing you can do is not do it, because if you fail, it just gives everybody fun material, and then you get to be more a part of the show. And then there's the all shucks of like, I don't know, we should let them do it again. This is really crazy.
Yeah, I mean, to explain the concept a little bit deeper, it's like if you come to the show, like what I love about this is you can come not as like a wrestler, not just as a wrestler that's wanting to work on the promos, which I think there's no other opportunity like this to, like, on Twitch weekly, you can come on and work on your promos, but in person, at one of our in-person experiences, like you can come, but like you could be a comedian with a character if you want to test it in front of an audience, like, or you could just. I've had shows, like we just had a show where it's like a couple was in the audience. They've been drinking a little bit.
Yeah.
Went up and they were cutting promos on each other. And I'm like,
oh my
that's
God.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, when your opponent knows your deepest facts there.
So you come to the show, you put your name in the bucket, have a character, have nothing. And if you get pulled, you come up and you get 60 seconds. At the end of the show, the judges, they pick the 2 best promos to go head-to-head to get a contract, basically.
Okay. And that contract, this is why I say you're also a real wrestling company, because you kind of joked about it when we did it in person and Monday on Twitch. and you were like, these contracts they're not worth any money. We don't know, like we can't pay you, but you are getting a contract. And it's very much in the sense of wrestling where they'll be like, we have signed so-and-so to a date. And I'm like, you just told me to be there, and then you would like, you're beyond the level of the indies. You're doing more than the indies by even offering a contract of any sort.
Fair. But it's essentially like a trophy in the sense of like, you won this competition, but what it represents, there's a lot of truth to what I say. It's like, I'm not paying anybody, but I always joke, but there's, like I said, there's some truth to what I joke about when I say like, you will get clout and exposure, and you can make this opportunity whatever you want it to be. I've had people come do the show that have become recurring cast members that I never even knew before, because I'm like, holy shit, I see something in you and I want you to come back and do this again.
Yeah.
But I also encourage, like you did on the stream, if you're an aspiring wrestler, like one of the most uncomfortable things, and I've done promo classes at wrestling schools for people, and I do see a trend of like people kind of cutting the same promos in wrestling all the time, and it's like, it's because there's a lot of reasons. They're being taught a certain way. They're it is one of the more uncomfortable things to learn or work on, and like a lot of aspiring wrestlers don't even know the first place to start of how to work that muscle.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Or how to the whole idea is that it's a wrestling match and it's a fight, but I have to convince people that they've got to see this fight. Yes. They've got to know why our fight is different or our thing is, because the whole point of the promo is not to let people know you're in a feud. It's to get people to buy tickets at the door or tune in and pay attention. And so when they start to understand that like it's a self-commercial, the thing is, I wish I had done it earlier in wrestling. And I see it where you're like, I've met these people and I see some of your recurring cast members who are coming, and you're like, oh, well, why would they keep doing it? Because number one, getting any what I call ring time, like getting ring time to do anything, it keeps you sharp. And so like anytime, whether you're a comedian, whether you're a musician, whether you're this, whether you're a wrestler, anytime you can just get the space to do the work, it actually is really awesome. And every time I've made a real connection in wrestling that has helped me move forward, and I'm sure it's the same in comedy and other stuff, you have to be there. You got to be around what's going on. And if you go, well, okay, well, I can't make it in case of this. It's not that, we're not all doing this with hopes of money coming down the pipeline, but sometimes you got to get out there and just do the thing. Sometimes you got to jump in front of it and go, hey, I'm actually here. How can you use me? And like, I can't think of how many countless big gay brunch occasions where something is fallen completely apart during the week, something doesn't work out, and then someone who's around, who's helping, who steps up, ends up being a very important key part of the team. Yeah. And now that you've built sort of the way y'all were flowing together Monday as a team, being around guys who I'm guessing probably understand a lot of improv, understand comedy, and then I just watched a clip that you did with a lot of the same people who were around a live show and the WrestleMania 42 writers room. There's a real rhythm that you get when you get to work with these people a lot that I think it doesn't just highlight like, oh, everyone's in this video with Shane Hartline. It's like everybody comes across with their own brand and their own person and their own vision. And why would we not all do it together? 100%. Why would we not add to this?
100%.
I don't know. It gets me so fired up. And you're also the kind of guy that fires me out because like I'm doing my own show this week and you're doing your own shows all the time. And it's sort of the idea of, if you're not going to book me to just come in and do something, I'm just going to create my own world. And now people are like, oh, Effy's Big Gay Brunch, it's the premiere show of Mania Week. It's so incredible. Like, it's its own thing. And I'm like, yeah, because no one would book it for me.
Well, you sometimes, like, I've produced comedy shows in Los Angeles for, like, better part of, like, over 10 years. And it's truly because, it's a similar to wrestling. It's a hard community. It's a hard world to break into. So I've always been the type, like I feel like we're very similar. If you're not asking me to dance, I'm going to create a dance.
Yeah.
I'm going to create my own dance, and it's going to be like weirder and different than yours. And so that's what's always excited me. And like, I think the reason this dance is like clicking so much is it's the most authentic comedy show that I've ever produced, truly to me. Like everything else is, I've had fun doing, and all the ones before have elements of the NAW show. Yeah. But like it's kind of all led to this one because it's like, oh my God, it's like all the pieces are just so fun.
With any like variety show, I feel like people don't always understand the rhythm, and the real magic to me of comedy, of live performance of these things is how does it come together? What was I not noticing? What came later? And to watch as people are doing promos, you've got your writer's room over here that's building these things in the back. You've got the judges that are building more. You've got musicians that are doing more. There's no lull in anything. And then if things go wrong or if things aren't planned entirely to point, everybody's willing to go along on the ride.
You gotta.
And so while you're dealing with something that you weren't expecting and it's, a little rowdy, you've got a whole team there that's ready to guide this ship back to being fun and back to being good.
I mean, I did that a little bit by design because I'm like, you know what? I have all these friends, and like one of my favorite things to do is like, I shouldn't say I hate. I would always prefer to create with my friends. So when I was like putting the show together, I initially was going to do it just by myself and have people come up and audition with a panel. But then I was like, oh, how much more fun would it be to like have like my different departments and then have these like people to like catch me if I need to like tag out, pun intended, to have help in these bits, and it's now just like starting to breathe like by itself.
Right.
And like, then everybody kind of knows they're just on deck and ready. It's really, we've only been doing it for a year, but it's like, it's so unrecognizable from the first one, and it's, the more you do, like it just kind of takes its own shape.
Yeah, and I think it's really funny because it plays into forever they would have you believing that like Mean Gene and Hulk Hogan were meeting at the presser room, and that there was this office and this was a different thing, and then you figure out like, oh, they're just literally filming backstage wherever they can find 100%. In the arena and wherever they're set up. And you go, and as long as this is different than this, well, now we're checking in with the merch department. Now we're checking in with the writer's room. And having this digital ability that you're having on the Twitch to sort of like live produce a real wrestling show more than a lot of the indie shows are producing it, it gives it like this old school feel where like, I don't want to say it's like people forget why they fell in love with wrestling, but there's a time and a place for a 20-minute match with 17 falsies, and there's a time and a place for a big, ridiculous person to tell me they're going to beat somebody's ass, and that, like, we can't keep lying as wrestling fans that doesn't fire people up.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bebop's really fired up now.
It's all good. I mean, I've always been very honest. Like, the thing I enjoyed most in wrestling, which is probably why I decided to stop doing it full time pretty quickly, is the storytelling, the backstage moments, the like, who's coming up in the limo? Like, who's in the limo?
Yeah.
As a kid, I was like, I watched the matches, but like, did I care as much about
But the matches were like a function to this greater story.
It was a part to me of the greater story. It was a part to me of the thing that I was always interested in me more. It's like, is truly what I'm trying to do with these NAW shows is almost like, it's not parody. It's like celebrate. Oh, let's cut to the locker room. Let's go to the hallway.
Yeah.
Like, like the world of the arena, the world of outside the arena, and what can be done here. It's
I think the bigger, like, I want to zoom out because I'm about to go to WrestleCon, and there's this bigger picture of like
within like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, within like I'm literally. I was gonna ask you how the Atlanta airport looks right now.
It's actually pretty chill.
Okay, good. I figured. It's gotten really chill, and we're not allowed to say the reason why because we're very against everything that they stand for.
Oh, I don't know.
But I'll tell you what, there was a 4-hour wait, and it's gotten very, very less of a wait because of who they chose to replace the government officials from TSA
yes, I
with.
did hear about this.
But it's also a mess. I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to zoom out on it because there's this idea in wrestling that like certain types of wrestling are correct. Certain types of wrestling are how wrestling should be done. And you should take it seriously to a degree. And even with the fans that show up, like if I see a guy, I may not be the biggest Undertaker fan, but here's how dumb wrestlers are. If I see a guy with a World Heavyweight Championship belt and he's doing Undertaker at the WrestleCon, he's in line to get stuff. He's doing stuff beyond, the expectation of like what you would do to show up to a con. That guy should be celebrated. That guy should have his enthusiasm taken to the next level.
Don't you want him dressing as Effy one day?
Right. People who are excited about the stuff, we constantly look at them, we're like, oh, we're cooler than that. Or guys who go above and beyond and want, the full crazy experience. They want to do the entrances. They want to do this. These are the fans that we need to like cling onto and hold close.
We can't bash the marks because they make up this business.
Yes,
and like,
but we think they're too enthusiastic about it. And it's like coming to the NAW shows, I'm going, we're taking the fans that like are excited and want to do it, and we're giving them pointers on how to do it even better. And
the people that decided to do the wrestling business are the biggest marks.
Right.
We decided to be in this business.
It used to be there'd be a guy who comes up to you at the gym and he's like, "You're pretty big. You want to do a gig?" And now it's like, no, I've worshipped Shawn Michaels for 12 years. My top 4 matches are Ring of Honor classics, and I love this. And then they're like, these loser marks are showing up excited about wrestling, and I'm going, no, we should tell them how cool they look.
100%.
Get excited.
And Mark to me is like, it could be a derogatory term, but it also to me is like, you're celebrating the business. You're an individual that celebrates the business, and you're excited about something. No different than if you're a huge Marvel fan, like you know what I mean.
Or
we don't go to the Comic-Cons bashing somebody wearing like Spider-Man cosplay. I mean, some people might, and you're really
I don't know. I've seen a few matches that are like that, but it is. There is this idea of like wrestling needing to be precious, which I'm sure you kind of run across a lot, but like. To zoom it out and go like, what actually gets people excited and makes them have fun? It is participation just on that level, but it's also like we got to stop being scared to be a little ridiculous.
Yes,
the whole thing is ridiculous.
Can I tell you? So, the reason I'm wearing these sunglasses, I got a little bit of
Can we show that? Can we show them?
It's not as bad.
I don't want people to think you're trying to like do.
No, I'm not being. I'm
a
not
99 Richard Gere.
I'm not. So I had a little accident at a wrestling match recently, my first match in 8 years, and of course. Get a little accidents happen. It's a par for the course.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm trying to get at is, so I did this Celebrity Death Snatch show.
Celebrity Death Snatch, you said.
Dude, shout out Matt Robb. Matt Robb puts on 2 times a year.
Yes.
He puts this event on, and it's essentially Celebrity Death Match. So he'll have wrestlers playing celebrities that wrestle each other, and he puts it in this warehouse, and there's a burlesque show happening. There's band. There's like beer and food.
Things
vendors.
that get people excited.
Dude, and let me tell you, it was about 400 people.
Yeah.
And they were going nuts for every match. And they weren't the the flips. And it was classic storytelling wrestling.
Right.
And
which I like, we love all those things, but people forget, like,
I love consuming it all.
You know what they have to know? What the fuck's happening in front of them.
Yeah.
And so to simplify that and give them obvious characters they can identify right away, wrestling would tell you that's cheating. Wrestling would tell you not to do that. It reminds me of the British shows where they have people dressing up like Shawn Michaels and dressing up like The Undertaker and dressing up like Kane and doing these things.
Yes.
And so like you're in there and we need to get into your wrestling training, obviously, but you're a trained professional in a lot of capacities. What's different about that? And you're portraying Bam Margera. What's his name? Slam Margera.
Slam Margera. My new wrestling personality. I'll take very, very, very limited bookings.
Yeah. But to me, that's like, it's obvious, it's easy to understand, and you're using the basics and fundamentals of pro wrestling, but they would say, well, this isn't real pro wrestling.
Dude, I got a stamp of approval from Johnny Knoxville. He's like, Slam Margera, that's a great name.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, the core of that character is I'm a huge Bam Margera fan, and excuse me, the opportunity presented itself. Like, he wanted to do Jackass vs. Punk'd. I'm like, well, please let me be Bam. But I mean, it was a character that I knew a lot about, and I think it's like really important. Like, when I was wrestling initially, when I started wrestling, I think I started training at 15.
Oh, so you go way back with this. I didn't know the depths.
Yeah, I mean, I only spent a few years full time in it, and I'm trained, but if I do a match, I'm very clear up front. Like, you're getting the basics out of me. I can do the basics. I can't. The wrestling business in the last 15, 20 years has evolved so much.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, because I'm very good friends with Shane Haste, and I always make that equation.
Yes.
I'm like, I can't do a Shane Haste match. I'm not going to do a Shane Haste match.
But Shane Haste could do a Shane Hartline match, and that's the key to wrestling these guys forget, which is...
I can do the foundational match, but I love a Shane Haste match. Shout out Shane Haste. But, so I think I derailed maybe what your question
you're fine.
was
I'm going to
initially.
tell you a
Please,
story about to
please.
make the larger point. Me and Alley Catch have had a match before. We're having a match before this will come out at spring break. And when we had our first match, it was in Texas, and her mom was there. And she was like, I want my mom to be involved in the match. She's really excited. I said, well, what can she do? And she said, well, she has some skills, but she doesn't she's missing one of her legs.
Oh,
and I said, okay. So I get in the ring with her and I go, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to teach you how to do a satellite DDT where you're going to run up on me, flip around me, drop me on my head. You're going to hit this move after we do a little bit. No one's going to expect that you can wrestle. I said, and then after that, I'm going to come and I'm going to pull the leg off of you and reveal that, which will lead into the finish. End of the match, Allie beat me. I had to kiss both the leg and Allie's boot to say who it was. When you have someone who the crowd is going to get excited for, who is coming in and doesn't have as much experience, as a pro wrestler, my job is to go, what is the biggest reaction possible we can get using you? And not like, well, you don't know how to do this. You've never done a pile driver.
Who are you
can't
to pop?
do that.
That should be the question you're trying to ask it.
I'm going, oh, I have Honey Boo Boo here. What's the biggest reaction? It's going to be her. You listen, I talk about this all the time. Honey Boo Boo did a show here in Georgia. She was just like appearing on the show.
Yes.
It drew more than any other Georgia show I've ever seen.
Honey Boo Boo will never not be over. Boo Boo.
That's okay. So wrestlers don't understand really when these people are coming in, it's not because we want them to honor and respect wrestling. The reason they're having all those celebrities, you did this bit on Insta, celebrities. Wrestlers should be mad, but not at the celebrities. They should be mad that they have literally no riz, are absolutely charismaless, and we have to bring in celebrities to sell tickets.
They should be asking the deeper question of what do I need to do different?
Why am I not a celebrity
here? Why am I not the draw? Why am I not enough of a draw? And it's tough. It's like, man, that's an interesting.
I don't want to be shady, but I'm going to put it this way.
But I have a similar, like, real quick. SNL does it too, or they've gotten less bad about it. But SNL, there was like a season where it's like
all run-ins,
all celebrity run-ins.
Like Ryan Gosling's here too, and, like he's here, and they're here.
You guys gotta build your core cast to be stars. Like otherwise, what are you doing? Why? But do you
also,
bring people
the
in?
show's live at Saturday night, and if you don't have charisma by then, and I've made a bad hire, boy, we got to see who's in town.
100%. What were you gonna say?
What I was gonna say is like we have this idea in wrestling of this sort of. Getting on TV means you're good at wrestling or you're a successful wrestler if you have a TV contract. But I'm looking at guys who've been on TV for multiple companies. They've been in all sorts of different positions. They've been in tag teams. They've been in groups. They've been single. They've been not. And it never clicks to where it's actually drawing money or bringing money in. And instead of like pulling themselves aside and saying, why am I not adding to this business? They're going, well, I'm on TV. The people are just wrong. The people are, or I wasn't booked right, or I wasn't this. To get in front of people is one thing. I can put anybody out on a stage, right? Like if you've got a Coachella, there's 100 people walking across the stage who are not Young Thug when he comes on. And when Young Thug comes on, they go crazy. And the reason isn't because like you're on Coachella that you're over. The reason is, the people are going to decide what's over.
Yeah.
How do you keep getting in front of people, in front of a crowd, in front of TV audiences that are guaranteed and built in, and it never clicks, and then you're mad that your WrestleMania is full of celebrities because nobody can draw. And they can say it's ticket prices. Bro, ticket prices everywhere are crazy.
But everything,
But also, like...
If you do a stand-up show, like if I do a stand-up show and my set bombs,
and
I walk off stage and I'm like, well, it was to the shitty audience. I'm like, there's no growth happening there. I've got to acknowledge something didn't work. What can I do different? You know, and I think that it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to stress yourself out. But it's like, ask yourself these deep questions for growth. Like, am I not great at promos, or could I be better in this way or that way? Like, am I being my true authentic self? Like, you know, these are all deep questions that are very uncomfortable for people.
Yes. And it also requires you to examine yourself as a product and not as a human. And there's a lot of times where when you're a performer, when you're able to get in front of people and you're able to show your art off and show what comes from you, if they don't like it and you want to take it personally instead of just as like, here's my output, I like it, I think it's good. Number one, it doesn't mean your art's bad that they didn't like it. Number two, if they didn't like it, I'm not booking you again. You need to work on your art and figure out what gets off in front of these people if you want it to be a success in a way where you're a live performer, because you have to do the performance. What is the point of the performance if not to sell the beer and get the money and get the tickets at the door? It's supposed to lead to that. And a lot of guys are like, well, they don't like my art, they don't like me. Instead of going, when I work in a bar show with a low boy ring, I'm having a very different match than if I'm working for New Japan coming up tomorrow night. I'm having a very different match based on the room I'm in, based on the people I'm around, because I want it to be a success for what the show is,
what
right?
they're wanting, yeah.
For what they're wanting. And there's something adaptable about being able to fit into all of those rooms, but I don't think being able to fit into all those rooms is going to like, it doesn't take away your artistic shine to have adjusted a little bit to be a part of that space. And I think that's very specific almost to live performance. I mean, you could say it about still, like if people are buying art, but they're not coming to the gallery, the art is still getting sold. But if people aren't watching your art or aren't sticking around for your matches or aren't enjoying themselves or coming back after they see your live performance, it is something where it's like, well, you can either do the job, which is to get these people excited and get them to pay, or like, this isn't the job for you.
Yeah. And also like, I mean, you could dissect that a million ways of like, because everything's so subjective and like what makes one person happy doesn't make the other person happy. And some people are happy doing a show in front of 20 people for the rest of their life, and if that fulfills them, who's to say we're wrong? You know?
Or just thinking if they aren't those 20 people, they're wrong about me. Instead of saying, what am I losing by people being wrong about me? If I know who I am, which like I think I have the blessings of like, I think we're pretty complete people where like we can fall on our ass and we'll still wake up.
I'm on a better side of it than I used to be.
Exactly, where we've seen enough failure and enough success
I think it's
to go like,
a lifelong journey though. Truly, I think it is.
Yeah, people can't skip the. That's the thing about becoming an old man like I'm becoming, where like I'm around these young kids and I'm going, hey, don't like just do the next match. Or like, okay, well, he told you what you did wrong or you know what you didn't like about it. Just do the next thing.
Do you find yourself telling the younger wrestlers the same things that were told to you in a different way? Maybe?
Yes, in a different way, but this is why I get so stressed out doing seminars and stuff. I really am begging these kids to like skip some of this bullshit. Like really the seminar should also be like, if you've done 100 matches in a year, you should also have 100 highlight videos of those matches, or that's completely pointless to you. Skip this idea of waiting for someone to tell you. Skip this idea of waiting to be joining the group. People are like, how do I get on GCW all the time, right? Or how do I get on brunch all the time? And I go like, make me give a fuck.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm giving you really good advice there, which is like, if what you're doing isn't making me give a fuck, like try anything. If that is where you want to be, I've got to have a reason to bring you in. I've got to have a reason to have you on. And it's me really trying to help, but a lot of them here like, well, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I'm going, oh, okay.
You gotta be a draw. You gotta make yourself a draw. Can I tell you something that I don't know that I've like told this to anybody like on a podcast platform yet.
Okay.
One of the reasons I created NAW was I had the opportunity a little bit before the time that I launched it, was a year ago at this point. We're doing our 1 year anniversary coming up.
Hey,
Netflix is a joke festival, baby.
We're getting there.
Okay,
we're getting there.
One of the reasons that I started it truly was also I had the opportunity to get a tape into the WWE, but I was very specific. I was like, I want to try to go as a manager. If I don't want to be a full-time wrestler, but I would love to work for the company in a certain way, I'm going to create I shot a video. Robert Peak helped me put it together. Have you ever worked with Robert?
I'm about to.
Dude.
I'm about to work with Robert Peak on a documentary.
On this, but like Robert
I'm really, really excited.
Robert is so talented and...
Shout out Produce. I'm about to work on a documentary, a mini documentary with Robert Peak.
I can't wait to see how that comes out.
Yeah.
He helped me put together a tape, but showcasing myself to be a manager. Got the tape in, didn't really hear anything. And then I'm like, it kind of makes sense. This is kind of coming out of nowhere. In the world of wrestling, I've got no buzz.
Yeah.
And so there was a part of the reason I started doing NAW because I was like, hey, like I can create my own buzz, so let's do that. Like, why not? But
an old wrestler told me, you're a jabroni until I see you 3 times.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's like, even if you're on their radar a tiny bit, people don't understand that like, if they're not responding, if they're not going back to it, they also know. Now they know. So at least you've made that contact of like, here's this.
We'll
and
see
someone
how they
knows.
feel though about these writers' room videos I do.
But honestly, I think
they have a sense
I
of
think we're
humor.
at this place where like they're also throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to dig on anyone. I'm trying to say that like we're all looking around going, how do we, in the time of TikTok where I can scroll 100 crazy things, I don't know what's real or what's not anymore. We have this live event that we know when people are coming to the live events, they're having the time of their lives. How do we get more of them? And I think when they're going, I mean, they just had Pat McAfee make fun of them for like 8 minutes live on TV. And so you're going, okay, well, what if I said something that made them upset? If anything, they're going to be like, wait a second, isn't that the guy that made the joke? And it's never going to get to the top of like what exactly you said, but some guy in that room is going to be like I got some feedback that like, I don't contact them, but that certain people were watching a lot of the matches I was having at the time just for like entertainment and fun backstage. And then to sort of see like people coming through the Big Gay Brunch, and they're not going to reach out to me directly by any means, but then there's people who you see get put into better positions or given another chance. And to be able to be like, okay, yes, it's out of nowhere. You send a video to the WWE as a manager, which isn't a thing they have much of. But now I'm looking at them this week, and 5 months ago, I would have said what I told Danhausen, which is, what are they going to do with you over there?
Yeah,
he goes,
yeah.
more than AEW is doing with me now. And I said, okay. They then have someone who they go, wait a second, this person can fill in gaps of stories. They can build bookings outside of it. They don't have to bump all the time. But if we need to put them in the ring, they can do an excellent job and get it done. And so when I think of managers, I think of like, yeah, Bobby the Brain Heenan in a weasel suit after a buildup of 8 months,
100%.
getting one bump and rolling on his ass and going crazy. That to me is a role that we should be looking at behind the scenes to go, this is extremely low risk. They don't have to be on TV. They can work alongside anyone. And so, yeah, it's out of nowhere. But now, like, we'll cut to it. Now you're going to be doing a segment, a session, an episode as a part of Netflix as a Joke Fest.
So
fill me in here.
Yeah,
this is insane,
dude. It's. I don't downplay it. It is the biggest like comedic opportunity of my career so far, like comedy show opportunity.
Yes.
So Netflix as a Joke is a comedy festival. I think they do it every 2 years to every 3 years.
I feel like it's gotten very much bigger in the last few years about how it highlights certain things.
They take over Los Angeles, so they'll find a group of theaters, and just for I think a week they just put on massive comedy shows. So. Now it's been like 2 months. I started hearing like announcements of shows being announced, and I'm like, I know you know this feeling. Every artist, every performer feels this feeling of wanting to get invited to the dance or like to the Cool Kids Club.
Yeah.
And I have yet with comedy. I've been very fortunate in my career. I'm very grateful to have done like really cool things. But with comedy, there's still so much left that I want to do.
Right.
And one of them is be a part of these festivals and like showcase myself on these stages.
Well, and I think when you're doing a lot of work within that community, you're seeing people who are also getting these opportunities, and they're kind of looking at you like, you aren't really one of us necessarily.
You're so different.
It kind of lights the fire into you, where I think like now seeing you go into it, I go, oh, you're coming in with like a complete vision. Like Netflix now wants you because what you're doing is interesting, and they're not just letting you in because the door was open and you can come too. Like they're going,
no,
this is a thing pitched, we would like to put.
You have to be
right.
like approved. It's a whole system. So I think it was at the show you were at the Elysian. There was somebody there that worked for Live Nation, I think, and that person was like, I'm going to pass along. No promises. I've heard that a billion times.
Because they had fun.
Yeah, they had a good time, and you've heard that 1,000 times in your career of like, I'm going to show this to this person.
Oh, yeah.
No promises. And I never believe anything until I'm standing there usually and on set. Even when I've booked it, I don't.
I've had 6 reality shows pitched to me that I just go, great, perfect, let me know.
Let's do it.
And that's as far as it'll ever go.
1,000%.
And they seem very serious at the time.
I totally hear you. So, man, when I got that, like, when I got the email for the offer, I was floored. I was so grateful. Like I was in tears. I was just like, because not only like truly, and I genuinely am not virtue signaling when I say this, like I'm excited for myself. I'm very excited for the project, but I'm also excited because I have friends that are a part of this that have never had opportunities like this too.
Yeah.
And like, I am so excited to give them even a small part of this showcase. And,
yes. And people don't understand those little small parts. It's like, yes, being a part of the showcase is sick. Everybody that's going to be around is a new lead for you to, network with, to find, to chat with.
Not to like, this should be a sell, but like if you're watching in Los Angeles, like, and you've never been a part of like an opportunity like this, this is a show where you can come put your name in the bucket and potentially get on stage at Netflix as a joke. Like there are not many other open mic type shows in the festival happening. I don't think of any, truly.
And also with it having this sort of magical crux on the world of pro wrestling that to most people in the country, they're not going to want to hear this. To most people, there is just a nostalgic feeling for it because they're not current wrestling fans. They don't even know wrestling is still happening for a lot of the time. To see people coming in from that comedy and be like, I recognize these things as memes, as parts of my childhood, and I know how the structure works to participate in it. You're almost adding this layer of character and kayfabe, obviously, that makes a comfort for building that comedy in such a silly way.
Dude,
like, it's just hard for people to get silly right away, but then you say,
100%.
Let me tell you something, brother, and I can get pretty
the
silly.
The first show we ever did, nobody in the audience was wearing costumes. Second show, one person had a costume on. And now you see like a multiple because like people are starting to get, oh, you can do whatever you want.
Yes.
And
if you do and go crazy, you're probably more likely to be highlighted and brought up.
The dude that played the old woman on the show you were on,
yes.
he's a friend of mine, but I had no idea he was coming the shows before, and he won a contract and became a part of. Like, I'm like, I'm having you back, dude.
So I gotta. This is the Netflix thing is huge, but my participation in this, I need you to understand. I kind of had an idea, and I kind of just rolled up, and the scene of
so funny.
Old Man Woman and Octopus, going on a date and making love. I was losing my mind genuinely. And it's so important to laugh at goofy stuff. And a wrestling show. Shout out Dark Chic. She's booking a show this week called The Worst Wrestling Show of All Time. Oh. And I really wish I could be there, but I'm booked for something else. And I want to see more because, like, to me, if the fans want to see it and pay for it, it's not bad. But canonically highlighting these outside, outlandish, crazy, weird characters in a pro wrestling lens just reminds me like the stuff that is so fun about it. And
it's a little bit Pee-wee's Playhouse. I grew up super inspired by Pee-wee's Playhouse. And I got to be honest, I got to shout out to Sin Bodhi from Freak Show Wrestling.
What a guy.
He used to run Freak Show Wrestling back in the day. When I saw those shows that he used to do, I was like, anything can be possible in wrestling. Absolutely anything.
He's around Gangrel a good bit. Have you had Gangrel on the show?
Not yet. Oh, I'd love to.
Oh my God. I think we should reach out and get Gangrel on there.
I remember one more thing I was going to say, but one of the best little pieces of the wrestling side of me, one of the best pieces of feedback that I get consistently after every show, at least one person comes up to me and they're like, man, I wasn't even a wrestling fan, but I loved this. And what I'm like, the wrestler in me is like, if it takes something like this for them to even open that part of their mind to watching a show, then we're doing our job right.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I did a show this weekend where like the main feature of the poster, it was a lot of drag and burlesque.
Yeah.
But I was like the main feature of the poster. When I got there, at least 8 people came up to me and they go, "Are you the crazy gay wrestler?" And to know that like I could sit here and be like, Effy's in the PWI and Effy's run his own shows. And I go, we sold this event out with drag, burlesque, and there's going to be a gay wrestler. To me, if I got you in the room and there's a bunch of other matches, there's a bunch of other things going on, it doesn't matter if what got you into the room is silly or stupid. It doesn't discount what I'm doing, and it gets them in front of the thing that we want.
The business, yeah. And it might lead to them going to more shows.
And it rewards you for like existing in comedy, but also being a wrestling fan, being someone who's in wrestling, being around wrestling. It's like you are now validated a little bit that these parts of entertainment, while not under union contract and while kind of terrible it seems for a lot of the WWE superstars buying all their flights and cars and gear and everything else, that you can be a part of wrestling in your own way. Dude. And you can introduce it to people in your own way, and you're probably going to sell more tickets than a lot of these wrestlers ever will.
When I was legit trying to get it, and it's not that I'm not trying to get into wrestling business, but when I was going the traditional path at age 16, wrestling school, getting destroyed, I started full-time at 17 as Rip Malibu the Surfer.
Rip Malibu.
Through this NAW thing, I have connected with more people in the wrestling. Like, this is a humble brag, or what is the phrasing that? This is not a humble brag. Whatever. Paul Heyman followed me through this shit. I'm like, I have connected with people I would have never connected to and never did in that traditional path.
Right.
And I'm not saying that you got to go through all these hoops, everybody, but I do think that like to your credit, and like you were touching on this earlier, like the business is so different. You've got to treat yourself like a brand, and you've got to open your mind to content and what that. It's not saying you got to do the content like me or anyone else. You've got to find the way to do content in your way that is authentic to you, your character, your voice, and it can be traditional character promos. But I always encourage people to think outside the box of like, you could be a wrestling personality that is a live streamer, a cook, doing cooking videos. Like if it works for your character, like the pizza guy, Luigi Primo, like he could do cooking videos, like, you know, whatever it is, like, but he's doing great. I'm not saying.
Listen, I got to spend a lot of time with him with the Juggalos, and it was awesome.
Dude, man, he's doing awesome. But he found a thing that popped people online, and he's leaned in.
It's hard for wrestling to understand that what draws your crowds may not always be the actual wrestling. But I will say with Paul Heyman, what's funny is you go, oh, Paul Heyman follows you. Let's think about Paul Heyman for a second. The guy who's in his 60s now, who they have to bring in every single year because he knows how to tell people what the feud is. The guy who's like, hey Paul, anybody. Can you go explain to people why they should give a shit? And he's so good at that part that many main event wrestlers come and go. Many come back in. Many go away. Many come back. But this guy, they go, hey, could you go tell them what the fuck's going on? And they're trying to learn more falsies when in reality, the guy with the most secure job in the business is the one who goes, here's the story, folks. You could hate me if you want, but this is what's going on. And they're going to take notice because you're doing something that's getting eyes on wrestling, and wrestling is barely doing that these days. I'm going into this week, not to turn it back to me,
please,
but I'm going into this week very much in the idea of I have the floor. How many times as an adult person in your life do you have the floor? It is such a blessing to have those chances to get in front of people, to showcase your art the way you want to do it. And since I have the floor, I'm going to showcase what I know how to do, which is be Effy. And it's not something that you should be nervous about what they're going to think. It's an exciting opportunity to get in front of people and see if you can make their day a little better than it was. Can you make somebody's day a little better than it was in your little piece of time? And that is a blessing, and it's magic. And I hope more people will find the joys of participation because what a fun time I've had so far participating.
Dude, thank you.
And I've got a pretty good character I'm doing for Netflix. He's a gay plumber, but he's not.
Wait,
into
are you
PDA.
Coming out for the Netflix show?
No, I think I'm. When is it?
May 6th. You just like.
I don't know. Maybe I will now. Maybe I will just show up if we're gonna do that.
Man.
But my character's a gay plumber who doesn't like PDA, so he's constantly trying to fix your pipes. But if you go and try to like flirt with him with his ass crack out, he's like, "This is a professional job. What are you doing? Stop it! Looking at me like that. You're asking for a whooping." So we're gonna keep fleshing that one out.
You're bending over a little seductively. Don't.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Where can everybody find you?
Just excuse me. Just search Shane Hartline on socials.
Yeah.
Nearlywrestling.com will take you to our tickets, to our past episodes. We put up every episode. Every episode we tape in person. Every episode from Twitch goes up on YouTube, Spotify. But we are live every Monday night, 11 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, on my personal Twitch channel, Shane_Hartline. You can come on and virtually audition. We have virtual judges from around the world. And like Effy said this past week on the stream, is like, there's really no other opportunity like this to, if you're a wrestler, come cut a promo. But like,
yes.
I allow, and I totally encourage wrestlers to come on and plug your shows, take full advantage of this.
If you're a person who wants the floor, come take the floor.
Yeah.
How many chances in your life are you going to have to talk to 1,000 people hanging out online in front of an audience, in front of people who care? This is awesome.
You hear it all the time where people are like, you never know who you'll what this will lead to. But truly, like, if you come on and you impress the audience, like I've had people that have become recurring cast members that have connected with, people in the business and have led to being put on actual indie shows from our show. So it's like, anything can be possible, but like, you just got to get over the fear and you got to do it.
Do it. Just do it. That's not copyrighted by anyone, is it? Just do it.
Yeah.
Effy and Shane say just do it.
Just do it.
Oh my God.
It's 2:58. Is there enough time for you to give us any kind of anecdote on Rock of Ages?
I could talk about anything. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, okay. Were you in Rock of Ages?
I was in Rock of Ages. Rock of Ages.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
How is this? I need to do more research on my friends.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm over here winding it up, and my roommate's like, "There's more interesting things going on with this person."
All good.
You're talking about with Tom Cruise?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Dude.
Wait a second.
I
just got butterflies.
That was the first big thing that I booked. It was the thing that made moving to Los Angeles 15 years ago this October possible.
Yeah.
It's almost 15 years ago to the month. Like I got the audition 15 years ago, almost to the day. It's trippy. But yeah, man, it was a crazy experience. I got an audition. I was living in Florida, and I had only since to that point just done commercials and very small parts and that kind of thing. But then, at the time, Florida was a really great place to start in the business because there would be films and television shows coming through, and there was a beautiful tax incentive. And
I was going to say tax incentives make for wonderful locations.
Oh yeah, so it shot.
Where were you in Florida?
I was in Central Florida.
Okay,
Lake Wales, but the movie shot in Miami. Got the audition for one part the very traditional way, just through my agents.
Yep.
I got a call back for another part. Didn't know that I booked it. A couple weeks went by, and then they invited me with 6 other people, smaller name actors, to the table read to read just all the small parts
that are
fill the roles. But I am sitting at a table read in a massive warehouse.
Whoa.
With surrounding me is at least 60 to 70 executives and producers and big wigs. Next to me is Paul Giamatti, Russell Brand, Alec Baldwin, Bryan Cranston, Catherine Zeta-Jones, small name actor, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise dressed like Stacey Jacks at the table read.
Wait, he showed up just fully ready to be in Rock of Ages.
He came in full character.
Oh my God.
Bryan Cranston was still as Heisenberg because he was still shooting Breaking Bad. I can't tell you how terrified I was this whole table read. And the one thing, my greatest memory from it was how much I had to pee. But I was like, I'm not going to be the person that gets up and goes.
No chance.
No effing way.
I've learned too many tricks to squeeze things back in.
I'm going to hold this as long as it takes. I am not going to be that person. I did the table read. I read with everybody in that read. I read with Tom Cruise in that read. It was surreal. But I got up from that table thinking, well, bombed that. Not going to happen. Beeline, here comes the casting director heading straight towards me.
He's telling you, get the hell out? Is that what you're thinking? Yeah.
I'm thinking they're going to be like, thank you so much, but, you blew it. No, she goes, we were considering you for this, another guy in the crowd part, but, the director, within that time of the table read, apparently he's actually thinking about you for this other part, and I'm thinking yeah, there's probably no lines. Thank you.
Yeah.
Featured extra, no problem with featured extras, but that's what I truly felt. I bombed it so badly, but no, it was for this part, Jimmy the bartender, and I'm found out within a week that they offered me the part of this Jimmy the bartender part. I have one big scene, but then what was beautiful financially and just a beautiful opportunity is any scenes in the bourbon room I'm in. So I worked the whole month on that movie. I spent the whole month with Russell Brand and Alec Baldwin.
And how are you now after that one?
Honestly, I'll be real. I know that despite his takes and whatever, face to face, he's the nicest person. Went up to every background actor, went up to every crew member every day and checked in on people. And I can't say anything bad about Russell Brand with my personal experience. Yeah. Outside of his views, and he's got a lot of weird takes.
Yeah.
But one of the funniest stories, he was still dating Katy Perry at the time. And I'm sitting on the lot in the back, and all of a sudden this chick sits next to me and didn't really give sits next to me in a chair right over here, and I'm on my phone. I'm just again, I'm into the new actor.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruffle.
You're not trying to get involved in anybody's business there. Yeah.
And I didn't really look over, and but it was Katy Perry just sat next to me for a good 30, 45 minutes. Because when I saw Russell Brand walk up and kiss her and they walk off, I'm like, oh my God, that was just
you just been hanging out there.
I've just been hanging out with Katy Perry this whole time. But no, it was truly surreal. I got such great
Tom
friends
Cruise
still
is
to
the
this day.
one, though.
I got to watch him do all of his bourbon room performances in person. He is a true movie star. I mean, it's wild.
Professionally a movie star and good at it.
He is so good at what he does. He nails it. He never makes mistakes. He comes in with a massive entourage.
Yep.
Does his stuff. He's focused. He does his stuff, and then they take him out. It's like a machine.
What a wonderful thing to get to, though, because I think about like Randy Orton has that bus and he shows up to TV. He chills on his bus. Yep. He comes and does his match, and Randy's match, and then he gets to get like this is the most extreme version of that. Of like, hey, Tom Cruise is really good at this thing. If you make him do more than that, your life is in danger because he's here to do the thing that we've proven is this incredible thing. Let's make it as easy. I talk about this in wrestling where I'm like, if my rocket ship has a ton of fins on the side of it, it's just going to go slower. So how can I reduce the fins? They've reduced the fins on his rocket to just be at maximum speed. And it gets me so excited as an artist to go like, this is a thing out there of like, they can honor your art and your ability to make everyone's job valuable so much that they will make your job part
Every
only
movie that
the
he's
part.
a part of becomes a blockbuster.
And think of how much easier it is to be Tom Cruise when everything else is dealt with.
Yeah.
If he had to like drive on the 405 for a 6 o'clock set time and then show up and then he's not shooting till 3, I think like he would still be Tom Cruise, but he deserves at this point
it's a machine.
to do.
It's a machine at this point with him, like someone like him. You know, the funny thing is like I have 2 quick thoughts about Rock of Ages. Like one of the cooler things, the wrestler fan in me, Kevin Nash has always been one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh.
His trailer was right next to mine. So I got to like have moments talking to him. My agent, it was his agent at the time.
Wow.
So like I got to like have a true good moment with Kevin Nash, which was very sick. But also, you know what's funny is like we all did that movie and we're like, we were right. I mean, it humbled me so quick because I did that movie. It was like the first big thing I ever had done, and it was a massive project. And I came to Hollywood thinking like, oh, now it's just
now I'm set, baby.
Let the parts flow in. I thought I was gonna for sure get on SNL and all these things, and like it didn't exactly work out immediately that way. But like, you know, that was one of the biggest learning lessons from that movie is like it taught me a lot that I didn't learn until later. And like,
yes, I was gonna kind of say like you get to come in on something really big and powerful and important and around you and advertised and in the city that you're in. And it sort of like reminds you of the hunger to get back to whatever that is. And I think about a lot of opportunities that I've like had or been around where I'm like, well, I should have had that there. I should have done this there. And now I'm sort of getting things and I'm going, thank God I didn't get this 5 years ago. Thank God I didn't get this 6 years ago when I thought I was the shit and I was the best. I was this because like nobody wants to be patient because they think, I'm 29, it's over. And I'm like, I've had so much success in my 30s. I've had so much success after I've thought I would in wrestling. And like getting a taste of that, I think puts you in a place where you're like, okay, well, yeah, like this show is a lot of work or this thing I'm doing is going to take a lot to get set up or started, but it's all leading to what I know is possible. And like 25-year-old
success. If 25-year-old Shane Hartline would have got the success he wanted at the time of Rock of Ages, it would have destroyed me.
Yeah.
I was not ready for it. I was still green. I was still green actor.
I know so
green
many tricks
human
now.
being. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I just would have crumbled. I was just still in my like heavy party phase and like I just would have crumbled.
Yeah, and you know what? Now they're crumbling to get on that stage with you. I'm so glad Pitar brought this up.
What a segue.
I'm sorry I didn't do more research on you to know that you were in Rock of Ages. I've seen it, but also it is kind of like there is magic to getting to talk to you and knowing like we can talk about
we can flow, baby.
Nearly average wrestling the whole time, and there's so much more and so much depth that we're not even going to get to.
I would love to do it again, though.
I want to, and I'm glad we got you in here this time because literally my flight is in like 2 hours. And
thank you for like letting me.
I'm so pumped you suggested because we've started doing guests on here, and I want them in person, and that's so hard in Atlanta. Just like, but I just feel like the 1 second between us on the screen, I would keep talking over you. It's I won't correct myself, so I'm just gonna keep bringing people in person. I'm so glad you got to come here.
It's all good, dude. I'd rather do these in person. Like, thank you for having me, man.
All right, I'm gonna do a sick intro for us. This is gonna be magic.